Oh boy. Welcome back to the What the Fumble podcast. Remember way back in episode 1 where the worst thing we had to deal with was weather and a socially awkward snake man? I sure do. I mean, seriously. Like, vampires. Justin, are you fucking serious? I can't fucking believe, you know what? I'm done. Sorry about that, everyone. If you want to stay updated with all the goings on in What the Fumble, you can follow us on any or all of these sweet, sweet social media platforms that we have links to in the episode description. Or, if you want to add the personal touch, email us at wtfumble@gmail.com. Anyway, that's enough happy thoughts for one day. Time for us to reap what we've sown as we face episode 6, Grave Consequences.
Episode 6. Let's get right back into this thing, I think. We've waited long enough. I just want to jump right back in tonight. I want to play D&D.
I don't know. We could just wait for another, couple hours.
Skip this one and just go home.
No, let's rip off the Band-Aid. Let's do it right now.
I'm still convinced it's a good plan. Let's just do it.
I don't know.
It's the spirit. We're still in initiative. The last thing that happened is this sailor that you jumped, who you now realize is a little bit stronger than you guys, has just hollered up. He's made a whole bunch of noise. He's hollering at the crew up top, letting them know he's under attack. He's in combat. Now, I know you guys have already kind of discussed surrender a little bit amongst yourselves. Overheard you talking before we sat down to play. But we're still in initiative, and it's going to come down to Lenora to decide. Lenora /Stiletto /Adam. It's your turn after this vampire hollers. And what do you want to do?
Oh, boy. Well, at this point, Lenora sees everything going downhill, and she has a quick thought, like she's had a week to think about it. And she's away from the action. So she is going to go underneath where that chemical was dropping in the boat and just look at the stairs coming down and have both of her hands up, fingers spread wide, making sure they see there's nothing in her hands. And just as soon as she sees anyone who has an inkling of common, she's going to be like, we must talk, parley, surrender, whatever you need. I just need a word with someone who understands.
So I'm
ready
getting away and putting, put your hands up in surrender, essentially, and getting out of the immediate area of combat. Lustra, what do you want to do? You hear boots shuffling up top and tell that, the people up top have been alerted by this guy's loud screams.
Well, I've already taken a swing at him. I've seen a spear go into him. I've probably seen this guy regenerate.
You have, all these things.
I have a feeling that Lustra probably feels he's outmatched, but wants to make sure everyone gets out okay. So he's just gonna scream, everyone get away. I'll try and hold him back, and I'm gonna go for a grapple.
That's gonna be a contested check. I think we still have Bane going on from last week. That's what, attacks and saves, though?
Attacks and saving throws.
So it's not checks.
No.
All right, contested. You're going athletics.
Okay.
I'm going either athletics or acrobatics.
22.
You win. Big ol' Lustra grapples this guy. What's it look like?
If memory serves, I tried to clobber him with my femur mace, as it were. I swing, I miss, and then I imagine I drop the mace and then go and grab one around the waist and then one around his neck from behind and just kind of hold him towards my chest, his back against my chest kind of idea, and hold against his neck and his waist against me.
Right. I like it. Anything else you can do?
No, I'm just going to tell everyone I'll hold him here, get back.
All right. Sounds good to me. That's going to bring us back to the top of the turn order. I did us all the favor of rolling off air for initiative on what's upstairs. So, Merlin, what would you like to do, if anything?
Okay. Merlin is busy coming up with a brilliant lie for this situation for when people from upstairs come downstairs. He's going to tell Lustra just keep holding him as long as you can. And I got a good story that we're going to tell people. And Merlin's just going to turn to the nearest wall and just headbutt it as hard as he can.
Oh, my God.
Try and create a bruise, maybe a little cut even
Okay.
on his head.
I mean, you have enough. You can do enough on your turn if you want. You can get a running start and just
Whatever it's going to take
you
to
can
make
take
myself
a
look
D6
beat
of
up. Yeah.
bludgeoning. You can just 10 feet of full speed running into the wall if you want.
Concuss yourself.
Yes, I would like to do that. Yeah.
I'm 100% behind this plan.
Suddenly, all of the plans that I thought sounded stupid in my head
Right.
sound so much
See, you guys really
more
got you.
stupid. This is genius.
I hate bruised lemons. Oh my god.
We're going for it's so bad it's good. That's what we're going for here.
It's fantastic. You guys, I can tell you guys got together this week, did some strategizing.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell.
All right. So what do you need from me on rolls?
Not a thing. I just need you to take 6 points of damage.
Oh,
There it is. Roll. I got a 6 on a D6.
Okay.
You run 10 feet into the wall. A massive gash opens up on your forehead. Blood pouring down your face. You think your nose might be broken, but boy, are you did it. You did it. Good job.
Merlin points to the vampire while smiling with blood in his teeth. You did this.
Oh, man.
And that's it for
Man.
Merlin.
Okay. Okay. Tess.
I was concerned I was going to be the first to die. I am no longer concerned about that. I guess Tess is going to be standing up and batting away this guy's teeth. And when Lustra grapples him, she's going to clutch the back of her neck and just with like fear in her eyes at like how close to death she was, is going to just take the disengage action and run over to where Lenara is.
Okay. Sure thing.
Like my full 45 feet if I can.
Yep. You disengage and hightail it out of there. And at the end of your turn, my crew's going.
Oh boy.
It's the boat's turn.
Oh no.
A bunch of them just start filing down these two staircases. They start blocking the entrances or the exits. And among them, I mean, everybody seems up. You see Captain Baykur is there, seems to be kind of leading the way. Adolescent Colin makes an appearance. He's kind of at the top of the staircase, a big smile on his face, hopping back and forth. On the stairs, Dr. Rayner is there, Bonesaw already in hand. He's like drooling at the mouth in excitement. But it's only Captain Baykur who says anything to you after he's barked his orders to his men to block the exits. He kind of looks around, assesses the situation. You can tell the look on his face. He is pissed off. He's annoyed. He says, we have big problem here. We tell you door's not your business. Smart thing for you is put weapons away.
Merlin will definitely put away his long sword.
So Lash
He's
is
not gonna argue.
absolutely sheathing. Yep.
This is definitely not Sir, let's just say our curiosity is more than sated, and, well, technically we have not stolen nor gone past any of these doors. We realize that, yes, this is not how we should be acting as nice guests aboard your boat.
And Merlin chimes in, but that doesn't mean your insubordinate crew can just come out and attack us whenever they please. And he points to the big gash on his head.
Oh,
He
very
did
nice.
that.
Very nice. If everybody is following through with sheathing weapons, I think that was everybody, right? The two of you have run, you've sheathed, you. Lustra, are you?
I would say that, if Captain Baykur came and said that, and I would imagine I have the vibe that, we're not fighting anymore. It seems like we're in kind of a talking phase, and I think Lustro will calmly retract his arms.
And let this sailor go.
Yeah, and let the sailor go and just put his arms up kind of thing, and back off slowly.
Yeah, for sure. In that case, we're out of initiative here. Merlin, you want to give me a deception check?
Absolutely. Okay, it's a 2 on the die.
Okay.
So +3 makes it a 5.
Hey, that's probably enough, right?
It should be. Pretty clear. I mean,
Should
the
be.
evidence is on my face, so how much convincing do I need?
And a bunch of splinters.
You all kind of, make some pleas, especially Lenore is kind of leading the charge on the pleading that you guys technically haven't broken rules. You can tell Captain Baykur, I mean, he's listening to your pleas, doesn't even look at any of you as you're talking, though. Doesn't even look in Merlin's direction as Merlin is like, look at the gash on my head. And he doesn't even turn his head. Instead, he starts talking in that guttural language to the sailor that you guys jumped. And it's kind of, you don't understand the language, so it's hard to determine what they're saying. But the sailor that you jumped, he crouches down basically like in the fetal position, like palms facing outward, this very submissive stance. And you can tell he's just pleading with Captain Baykur. You figure if you could understand what they were saying, probably be something along the lines of, it's not my fault. They jumped me. I panicked. One of them stabbed me. They saw the regeneration. Not my fault. None of this is my fault, kind of thing. But Captain Baykur just remains stone cold expression on his face while this sailor begs for forgiveness. You all kind of get the impression that this sailor was not supposed to hurt any of you in any way.
Oh, thank God.
And was definitely not supposed to reveal his true nature. And, after this short conversation with his sailor, without even looking at you guys, he's still just staring the sailor down, but addresses you guys in common, says, we pull you all from water. We save life. We give food. We give water. We give place to sleep. All we say is door's not your business. And you try make door business. Now you break rule. Kind of gestures toward that sailor. He break rule. Now everybody break rule. And now you know things maybe you should not be knowing. This is a big problem.
Salash would like to speak up, and he explains.
He mansplains.
Yes.
Snake explains.
Yes, it is within our nature to be curious creatures, and I will not deny that we have such curiosities about this boat, especially when there are perhaps things behind doors that require assistance. It is not unlike us to be weary and understanding to help what is beyond our control, as well as what is behind the doors that we hear. Hearing some kind of cry, be it animal or otherwise, does not sit well with us. So it is within our nature to want to help such things. Yes, did we get a little close to the doors? Absolutely. However, we need only look at the back of Cassandria's neck to know that while your sailor was right to look at us with disdain in the rules that you had set, his insubordination and attack responded, and the way he responded is what led to this altercation to begin with. So, while we do not mean to have your hospitality spat upon, understand that we are people who are good-natured, and hearing such cries of woe behind these doors does not allow us any kind of respite.
So you say, I set rule, and if you hear crying chicken, you break rule, that's enough?
If
That's
I
not
hear
respect.
if I hear some kind of creature in peril, then yes, my curiosity is certainly going to get the better of me. Now, don't get me wrong. I did not break any rules. And to this moment, we have not broken any rules.
Sailor tell me you break rules. Sailor tell me you all snoop at doors. Sailor tell me you try keep this door open. Sailor tell me you stab in stomach. You cast magics. Sailor tell me you do bad things.
Only in self-defense. I need only look at the back of her neck. And by the way, how does he know the door is open? What was kept keeping the door open?
Make a deception check.
Deception? I can do that. Ooh, that is a 24.
He says, okay, fine. Maybe you act in self-defense. Maybe he act in self-defense. You say he hit first. He say you hit first. None of this matter, because now you know things you should not be knowing.
We won't tell anyone.
We have big problem. I supposed to believe you. You say you know fuck with door, but you fuck with door, and now you won't believe this? With a bark in that guttural language, he shouts out a few more orders to the guys on the stairs. One of them disappears, doesn't come back. A few more of them head up top, and after a few moments, you can hear something heavy being dragged across, like the planks above you. And he says, like I said, this big problem now. Big problem. Everybody is breaking rules. So we show you what happened when break rules, yeah?
How do we find big solution? Do you not work for Dr. Heinfroth?
Yes, I tell you. We work
And
for
this is
Heinfroth.
his boat, yes?
It is this my boil, yes. This his boat, but this my crew.
You captain? Well, if you would like, I can tend to the wounds in his clothes, as it seems he does not need tending to the wounds in his flesh.
To my sailor,
To your sailor.
you will not touch him.
That is fine.
And after a few more moments, you hear that dragging. It's getting closer to the stairs, and there's these multiple thuds as a couple of the sailors drag a big-ass wooden coffin down these stairs, and it's like hitting every stairs, doof, 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 doof. And they set it down on the floor. So we show you what happened when break rule on boat. And the rest of their crew starts getting very excited. Adolescent Colin's eyes are beaming. Dr. Rayner can barely contain himself. He's like wringing his hands in excitement and anticipation of what's about to happen. And Captain Baykur starts to walk towards Tess. Gets right up close to you and takes a better look at that bite wound on the back of your neck and just shakes his head in disgust and keeps walking past you straight to that sailor that you guys jumped. And the sailor just starts panicking. He's just begging. But his words are cut off as Captain Baykur just grabs this guy by the throat and starts to drag him towards this coffin. And with ease, no issue at all, Captain Baykur throws this sailor on the floor, about 5 to 10 feet away from the coffin, says a single word in that guttural language, and like a pack of hyenas, all the other sailors just descend on their crewmate's body. And you see parts of his body, little pieces of clothing just like flying out of this circle as they tear this guy completely apart. When it's all over, they take what's left of the torso, they place it in the coffin. Captain Baykur breaks open the first crate he finds, picks up a piece of the shattered wood, walks over to the coffin, and stabs this vampire sailor in the heart. And in a cloud of just black mist, that sailor is no more. And he looks back at all of you and says, like we were saying, here on boat, fate of crew is in my hands. They break rule, I am judge. In Dominia, fate of outsiders like you say, young ladies, is for Dr. Heinfroth to decide, not Captain Baykur. So we still bring you to Island. But maybe Dr. Heinfroth not like what I tell him about you now. Maybe he not like you know secrets.
Wait. I mean...
Lustra's going to come up by Tess and kind of put a hand on her shoulder to calm her, and then step forward in front of Tess. Look, listen, you found us washing away in the ocean. We are clearly not from the mists. We find ourselves in the mists. We magically find people who give hospitality in this strange land we've never been a part of. As Salash has said, and I point over to him, we hear cries down beneath. It is our nature to help those in need, but we're also have no idea where we're at. We're trying to find some semblance of control, some semblance of where we are, some kind of knowledge to get our footing. And this was just our attempt at trying to find control. Was it in a place that, was it in a way that could have been done better? Yes, but we were just fighting for our lives for hours on end. And so we are still kind of in a fight or flight mode. So I do apologize if there's anything we can do to help the situation. I think all of us are in agreement that we would do something to help apologize or make an ends for that. Some kind of trade, I don't know. But just know that I think I can speak for all of us when we do say we are truly apologetic and sorry for what we did. It's just us trying to find some control in these new lands that we find ourselves in.
He shrugs, says, you negotiate wrong person. Your fate not up to Captain Baykur. You know things, you know secrets you should not be knowing. Now Dr. Heinfroth decide. I'm very sorry, so you are so unlucky. But this no longer in my control. Also, we still have full day of sailing. And now we can no trust you alone and hold. This big problem too. So I'm sure you understand, but we need put you in more secure place for rest of sailing.
Lustra offers his weapons. That sounds fair to me.
He barks an order in that guttural language, and sailors start to come down and basically, grab you by the arms to escort you. They're not grabbing you violently. There's more of an escort fashion unless you're contesting it. They're going to lead you through that room that the sailor you just jumped and who just got destroyed was coming out of the place where there's a trapdoor in the floor. You're going that way if you don't contest.
I'm not going to contest.
The sailors that are with you lift open that trapdoor. There's a ladder on the side for yourself. They just kind of jump down. But you notice that down below it's a secret hold, basically. Imagine like a half story in a house kind of thing, right? Like this, it's not tall enough for 6.5 foot tall Lustra to walk. This is the hold. The ceilings are maybe 4 feet high here, so there's nowhere that you can stand in this lower, it'd be the bilge. What you immediately notice, though, is that the entire secret hold here is filled with coffins, and each coffin has one single slit, like on the lid, where the head should be, a slit large enough to allow for breathing, to maybe put a piece of hardtack through, maybe ladle some water into. And they start dragging you towards one of these coffins, open up a lid, and tell you to get inside.
I'm going to growl, but do it.
And you can hear the nails being hammered into the lid as you get put into this coffin. Back up top, Captain Baykur looks at the remaining 4 of you and says, "The same for you. Everybody coming, or you want to make bigger problem?" He'll look at Tess.
Tess is in a cold sweat, and she says, "We never meant to make any problem. Some of our curiosity got the best of us, and I made a mistake of trying to get them out of it. It was my fault that all of this happened."
He, as you're telling him all this, trying to explain yourself as best you can, he shrugs and says, "You save for Dr. Heinfroth. I no judge of you. Unless you want to join crew, then I judge. I have opening for one more." He's just kidding. Just kidding.
It's not. That's
I have new opening.
What will you tell him when we get there?
What will I tell Doctor? I tell him truth. Find 5 more people. And I will tell him what you have done here.
Tessa's eyes are sort of like darting back and forth. And she says, Is there no way that we can make up for it to regain your trust, to do anything that will keep us out of there?"
He just grins, shrugs, says, "It no matter if I trust you. It does not matter anymore. Now it's up to Dr. Heinfroth. You save breath for him. And unless you resist, they're pushing you in that direction."
Tess is going to, she's going to twitch like she wants to run. And then just going to sort of limply allow herself to be led down to the hold.
You get led down to where Lustra is already sealed in a coffin. You see the same short-ceilinged room. At this point, all the hustle and bustle down here has kind of awoken a couple things. You can see the whole floor there's maybe 6 inches of this murky, disgustingly dirty water in the bottom of this bilge, and you see all these shadowy little figures darting around, and you probably think back to those piranhas you had to deal with not too recently, or not too long ago. But after closer inspection, you realize that this section of the hold is just overrun by rats. Big, fat rats. And they push you along. You're having to crouch, half crawl to move through the hold. And you hear the same noise of a hammer hitting nails as you get nailed into a dark coffin right next to Lustra. Looks at Linara. "Will you plan on making problem?"
in the time Linara's been underneath those dripping chemicals, has any dripped on her outfit?
Probably not enough. Where are you going with this?
I just want to. I'm planning for the future to have some formaldehyde on my character.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I mean, we had that single drop come through. Unfortunately, the answer is probably no. It's not like gushing down here. If you were to, had this not happened and you maybe crowbarred that door upstairs, you'd probably have a lot of formaldehyde right now. But no, down here, it's not it's not dripping rapidly.
It will be hearsay without evidence. She just pulls her 2 daggers out, hands them to him, handle first. Says, I will go. No resistance. Free of my will. And then takes off where everybody was going without even needing an escort.
He just kind of like hands you your knives right back, as if he's not the slightest bit concerned. Says, I am confident you will not try to get out. Adolescent Colin is very much looking forward to any of you trying anything stupid. And he just hands you your daggers right back. And basically almost dares you to try to break out once you're in there. And they push you, or escort you down unless you contest. No. Same happens to you. Nailed into a coffin in a bilge full of rats. Slash, do you contest?
Slash absolutely does not contest. He looks to Captain Baykur and he explains, you say you will tell the truth of the matter to Dr. Heinzfroth. The truth is contingent on belief, and belief is contingent on 3 things. Belief in oneself, belief in others, and belief in the world around you. The world around us is turbulent, it's strange, you've admitted as much. And I'm certain you believe in yourself, but you don't believe in others. I can say the same of myself. So which truth do you think Dr. Heinzfroth might believe? I suppose we will find out. And with that, he bows, and if the guy could slither, he would, but he will instead walk to his coffin and climb in of his own free will.
He make an insight check.
Insight. 20.
A 20 is enough to know. You see his mouth just twitch the smallest amount, and you kind of pick up that he really didn't like that threat, and that's all you really pick up on. But he did not like that. You're confident. You can see him try to hold back a reaction. You're not sure if that just worked in your favor or not. He did not like it, though. Seems to be making a mental note of what you just said.
Captain Baykur will remember this.
Right?
Basically.
You will be first one I tell about.
Dr. Heinzfroth, the snake man was mean to me.
I mean to everyone.
My special talent is antagonizing.
Merlin, you're the only one left. Bloody face. What do you contest? What do you say?
Merlin will not resist physically, but Merlin also can't resist talking a whole lot of shit on his way down. So he's just going to keep yelling at Captain Baykur, like, joke's on you. I was just trying to shut those chickens up because I couldn't get any sleep. Dripping from the ceilings and having a kid watch you as you sleep. How's I gonna get any rest? Oh, it peers down the trapdoor. Coffins, even better. That's just way more comfy than what you had put us in earlier. Well, also, his fault. I didn't attack anybody. Your crew attacked me.
Lenara welcomes the sound of the hammer to drop Merlin's bitching out.
All 5 of you get nailed into coffins. You can hear the rats scratching around. Couple of them kind of already playing at that. The hole in the coffin, the slit that the hardtack could come through, is about 1 inch by maybe 3 inches. And these fat little rats are trying to get in. Just in case being stuck in a coffin isn't terrifying enough, imagine if a rat gets in here with you. That'll be fun. It's only a few moments before you hear some other voices down here. You hear the clucking of a chicken off to your left. After everything kind of settles down, you're like, hey, that's a really good bad chicken impression.
Well, I was not going to break the tension, but go for it.
It's an on-point
That's-
bad chicken impression.
That's a real good fake chicken.
There's another coffin occupied, apparently, though. There's a voice you haven't heard yet. It greets you. Says, oh, hey there. Oh, did I hear a bunch of people just get dropped off into these coffins? Oh, thank God. I've been talking to this chicken guy for 2 days straight now. Who are you folks? Name's Frank, by the way. Third coffin, second row. Hello?
Who asked?
I said Frank.
Trying to sleep, Frank.
Oh,
It's been a long night.
I'm
okay?
sorry. I haven't really talked to anyone but this chicken fella for 2 days now, I think.
2 days, you say?
Oh, yeah.
How did you find yourself in the coffin, Frank?
Oh, long story, long story. I just got scooped up by the Cargatane back in Darkon. Didn't go so well for me. I was just trying to make a name for myself on the streets. You know how it is. You know how it is.
Streets of where, if I might ask?
Martira Bay, born and raised.
And just caught out in the ocean unawares?
No, that's where they picked me up. They picked me up at the docks. It's the Cargatane. Oh, I see. Oh, where are you folks from? You never heard of the Cargat and the Cargatane?
It's certainly not that. It's, you could say that we're from away, if that makes any sense.
Oh, I suppose. So not from Darkon then, are you?
Not quite, no.
We're vacationing.
Vacationing. Oh, I hear it's quite the island we're going to. I say the doctor there can cure just about anything. Says they'll be able to cure this guy who thinks he's a chicken. And they'll say they'll be able to cure what they say is wrong with me, too. Although, between me and you, not that big of a deal.
What do they say is wrong with you?
Oh, it's nothing, really. It's
Oh,
nothing. I
come
don't want to
now.
get into it.
We've got miles to sail and a Merlin to keep awake.
All right, you talk me into it. You ever heard of the serial killer?
Serial killer.
You kill serial killers? Or you hate grain-based breakfast
He
food?
sighs loudly. That sounds like a no. Damn it, damn it, damn it. There's just so much competition in Martira Bay. There's serial killers all over the fucking place. Every damn street corner has its own little serial killer. It's hard for a guy like me to make a name for himself, you know? I don't even see as what I'm doing is that big of a deal. 99% of the week, I live me life just normal like everybody else. It's just that every 5 days or so, I get up right early, I stalk the alleys, wait for the dung sweepers to come out into the streets, scoop one up, murder him, I carve out his skull with a spoon, and I eat my Wednesday morning cereal out of it. It's not that big of a thing. I do it once a week, and then I go right back to work.
All right, number 2, got it?
Anyway, I got caught. And so they put me on this boat and said there's a doctor fixes people like me. I don't think I need fixing, though. What are you folks here for? What's wrong with your brains?
Silash?
This is where Lenara turns over and tries to go to sleep.
Well, much like you, Frank, third coffin, second row, I personally don't think I have anything wrong with my brain. However, I'm sure they will say there is. I'm sure that this doctor, much like yourself, is looking for employment and is simply finding busy work, as it were. However, given that we are from away, I feel like somebody in his position might understand a little bit better about the places that we're going to go. I know it seems strange to get travel advice from a doctor, but surely, if nothing else, he knows what we're supposed to be vaccinated against, if nothing else.
Oh, well, maybe so. Maybe. Oh, that's good. Maybe we're a whole crew. The rest of you are just normal, too. None of you other folks serial killers or think you're weird animals or nothing like that.
We're just trying to get home.
Oh, well, good luck with
That's
that.
all that is. I don't know how a doctor fixes that. Do you know anything about this Dr. Hindfroth other than fixing people? Like, how did you hear about his reputation?
Oh, no, just through what the Cargat told me when they scooped me up off the streets. They said they was going to send me to this guy and that he'd fix people with mental issues like myself. But, yeah, like I said, I don't see the problem.
I'd say that people on this boat have much stronger mental issues than anybody here.
Right, I mean, it's once a week. And like I said, I go to work right after.
Well, where do you work?
I'm a dung sweeper. Streets of Darkon. Martyr Bay. Streets of Martyr Bay.
Ah, you kill
Born
other
and
dog
raised.
sweepers. Ah, job security.
Oh, that's right. 2 birds, 1 stone.
There we are.
I'm a thinking man.
I find myself something of a thinking man as well.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
You think you've got a way to get out of here?
Not on my own, no.
Oh, well, if you need some help, I'm right here. You happen to know what day it is?
I couldn't tell you. I don't even know what month it is, to be
it's a
honest.
shame.
This time of year is a bit of a mystery to me. What time of year was it when you got taken?
It was like I told you, it was like 2 days ago. I was just asking, wondering if I missed any Wednesdays. I think maybe I did. You know, I killed 43 Wednesdays in a row. You know how hard it is to keep up that kind of commitment and make a name for yourself on them streets. You got serial killers galore there. It's hard. I thought it was a good gig, really. You know, the serial killer. Like, the serial killer is so amazing that they had to name him 2 times, you know? That'd be a good shtick. Help me kind of, you know, stand out in the crowd kind of thing. Maybe it worked too good and they caught me.
Well, did anyone know that you ate the cereal out of their heads?
Oh, yeah, I left plenty of evidence, so else how would the name catch on?
Just
I can't imagine how you got caught then.
may I have one question? Mm-hmm. Do you put in the milk first or the cereal first?
Milk, huh? Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, it's just oh Lord.
Wait, did you say you put the milk in first?
I think he doesn't use milk at all. Is it blood?
Oh, wow.
Is it what?
Is it blood?
Is it blood? No, it's cereal.
You just
Have you never heard of cereal? Where are you people
Well,
from?
I've heard of cereal, but sorry, I'm.
Merlin has had enough. He's not getting any goddamn sleep. So he's going to reach into his mess kit that he has on him and pull out some cutlery and try and pry a nail with a fork.
Okay, you start doing your best to try to open this coffin back up. Why don't you just give me a sleight of hand, I guess, to see how well you do, or you could brute force. You can either sleight of hand to try to get a single nail out, or if you want to just brute force, you can go athletics. Up to you.
I like the brute force option.
Sure.
All right. 5 on the die plus 5 makes it a 10.
A 10.
Yeah.
Not enough to open the lid of this coffin up. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even budge. You get the idea that and you heard them hammer quite a few nails into these things. And the serial killer, hears you. I was like, oh, good luck with that. I tried these things. They hammered them down pretty good. Pretty good. It ain't so bad, though. Once a day they come down, they put a piece of hardtack through this slit here, and they pour a ladle of water.
And well,
Could be
hey,
worse.
good news, Frank. Though, before we were sent down here, we were told we're only about 1 day away from Dr. Hindfroth.
Oh, that's great
So
news.
hopefully we get out of these coffins in about a day's time.
Oh, good.
So at least we come bearing some kind of good news.
That's fantastic. Oh, that's fantastic. I was really worried about missing too many Wednesdays, you know?
I'm kind of missing too much of home. Name's Lustra, by the way. First coffin on the right.
Oh, it's nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Hey, if you figure a way out here, I'm with you, mate. I'm with you.
Can I do an insight check? Is he just a loon trying to, say anything to...
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. I want to know if he's genuine or not and saying, I'm with you. That's a 17.
17. You want to know if he's
Being
a
genuine and being
loon
like,
or if he's genuine. And with his 17, you know that the answer to both of those things is yes.
Oh, just the best.
oh my. And yeah, and whoever is trying to get out, I mean, like Captain Baykur said, he just dared to try to get out, and we know how it worked when we tried force last time. We just gotta, fucking rats. We got to just bide our time until they let us out. Hopefully when we make landfall, we can do something else other than be in the grasp of this crew.
Merlin's going to do his best to just kind of fall asleep for the night.
Sure.
Prepare for arrival the next day. Out of character, though. I feel like we got some leverage now on the doctor.
Oh?
Yeah.
Leverage.
Yeah, leverage. I mean, we are in a coffin, but we now know something we shouldn't, right? That they're vampires.
Yeah, but I feel like that because we have that knowledge, that is against us because I don't think he's going to let us leave now.
Do you think he was going to let us leave before? Like,
Well,
like what, like from moment, oh, look at these guys. Yeah, let's feed them. Basically free food and board, and you don't think you're going to be used for something. And like, we're in the domains of dread. I don't think they're going to just take us to the... It's like you're either going to this guy or you're going to the Swedish back massage hospital where they train and you just get massages all day. And unfortunately, gosh darn it, we had to look in a door. Like, this is...
Yeah, but I think the difference is it's a matter of like, are you gonna go for death or mega death? Like that's where
Oh,
we're
yes,
at.
of course. The death that's more death than death.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like we at least have... The only leverage I think we really have comes back to not just us knowing that they're vampires, but that Buddy attacked us. I feel like that's something that, Captain Baykur is very keen on not letting get slipped out.
I feel he could have probably pummeled us, knocked us all unconscious. That would have been fine. It's the teeth marks that was the problem. If this guy just,
good point.
kept himself chill and just ended up being a badass and Krav Magaing us into unconsciousness, it would have been like, hey, no, it would have been very similar, except we'd already be in the coffins as opposed to shoving us along.
Being beaten with a bag of oranges, or sorry, with a sock full of oranges versus, being beat with a switch. It's like one clearly leaves marks, the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's not the beating that's the problem, it's the leaving the marks.
So, but the point is like, well, we don't have enough information, but all we can do is bide our time. I don't think we should actually escape because we're only going to get beaten down again,
I agree with that.
and there's nowhere to go.
But I'm just saying is that us knowing that there's evidence of vampires here is the only sort of real boon we have. Because
Okay.
it clearly made Captain Baykur uncomfortable.
Okay, so let's have a goal with this leverage. What do we intend to do with this leverage? Are we trying to find a way to get home? What does he mean by fixing people? Can he fix our wayward souls home? Can he point us in the direction of where we can? Are we looking for information? Are we looking for money, power, a place to stay? What are we trying to do with this information?
I think it's a little unclear. Probably this is going to play out in probably in the battlefield. I'm thinking like in an initiative. But for now, I think we just got to find out what the doctor's deal is. And then maybe we'll figure out a little more how much leverage we actually have.
I mean, ultimately the goal here, the immediate goal, is to acquire our own agency, to allow us to make choices. Because right now we're basically at the behest of Dr. Heinzroth and what he wants us to do. And I want to get away from that. I want us to be able to be out on the road making decisions for ourselves, not because Dr. Heinzroth told us to go do stuff.
So are we going to agree with whatever Dr. Heinfroth says, and the
Well-
second we have agency, just go against that?
Not at all. I'm just saying that's the goal.
That's the goal, just to get our own agency.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get our own ship and our own vampires.
I don't think so, but
We'll see.
all
Point
I'm saying is that we don't want to make any waves any more than we already have at this point.
Yep.
We do know that these vampires, quote unquote, are like immune to a lot of stuff, like the sunlight. But a stab to the heart seemed to work.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's important information. Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's a trump card we got.
But yes, all we need is to be...
I mean, all we need to do is just stab him in the heart.
Yeah, like how hard can that
The
be?
other 11 of them. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
How we
hearts
get there is-
specifically in a coffin, though, because they brought it down for, I'm not sure if it was pomp and circumstance that they had the coffin. They tore him apart. They could have just, like, stabbed him in the chest on the floor.
Well-
They specifically put the torso in a specific coffin.
Can we infer that it was probably his coffin and then, you know?
Yeah, I think Lenara would know enough about that in game too to be able to infer that. Yep,
Yeah, so
that they killed him in his coffin.
so
which
he
is
would
how
have
you
been
destroy a
there
regular
anyway.
vampire.
So
Alrighty. Well, I feel like there's not much left to do but to figure out what Dr. Heinzroth wants to do with us. We have one piece of information that might help defend us, but ultimately we're trying to acquire agency so that we can...
Do we want to interrogate Frank as to get an idea? Okay, so you're from Montero Bay. Like, who's the High Lord, maybe? Or get an idea of, like, big figures so that we can get a better scope of who to look out for or what names there could be or anything like that?
So basically we need to learn about important nouns.
Yeah, so that we get a better idea of the world we're in now.
Yeah, you can fish for nouns from Frank if you want. He's already dropped 2
Yeah.
that you hadn't heard before,
Yeah.
and you're welcome to question them in game if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, if Lustra's going to have any conversation with Frank, it's going to be trying to figure out maybe the general hierarchy of where he's from.
Sure.
And then, you know, okay, well, what's like, I don't know, where do certain things come from? I don't know, like, where do pelts come from? What kind of currency is even used, right? Because we don't even know about the most basic of things here.
Is this domain a series of islands, or are we just on a body of water?
that's a good one.
Yeah. Is this a strait? Is this an ocean? Is this what? Yeah.
This
Or
one
almost
here.
like-
Frank?
Yeah, if you ask him about that, if you ask him about here, so I don't know about as much of this place as yous do. Sorry, he probably has some info on Darkon, but as far as Dominion, and I think Lenara would probably know too, from your time training with Dr. Van Richten. You do remember at some point him explaining to you that there's a lot of domains of dread out there, where you can essentially almost live life in a somewhat normal fashion, especially for the, from the perspective of the people living there. Imagine being born in a domain of dread and being raised in a domain of dread. Most of the people who live in the domains of dread don't realize they're in the domains of dread. And you kind of put that together that this Frank, the serial killer, he's kind of he told you, born and raised Martyra Bay and Darkon. He doesn't know any more about Dominion than you do. He doesn't know any more about the domains of dread than you do. These are new words you're teaching him nouns if you're saying these things.
More so, his way of life isn't seemingly that unreasonable. He only kills once a week. That's probably not too bad.
It's not unreasonable at all.
Yeah.
If you ask for him.
Doing all right.
But yeah, so he might know if you want to ask him anything about Darkon, he might know, but he's not. 90% of the people who live in the domains of dread don't really know they're in the domains of dread. They don't know any better. They were born and raised. Think if you've seen the Truman Show, it's almost like that.
Yeah.
Like they just don't know any better. They don't know.
I feel like, you know, Lustra would ask Frank about, it's like, okay, well, where you're from, like, I don't know, who's like the mayor or the high lord or anything. I get the idea that finding out big names from where he's from might give some insight as to, I don't know, any information just to get some kind of bearing, I guess.
Sure thing. You ask him, so you're asking him who's in charge of, what's the pecking order, what's the hierarchy of government.
Yeah.
He says, oh, well, let's see. I got scooped up on the streets by them Cargatane, but they answer to the Cargat, and the whole lot of them, it's kind of like the secret police, you know? They're supposed to try to weed out serial killers and evil doers on the streets of Martyra Bay. I got unlucky and they scooped me up, but they're kind of like the secret police, and they all work for the king.
And who's the king?
Well, his name is Azalin Rex. He's king of all the Darkon.
Are most people dung sweepers in Darkon, or are you the expert?
I mean, I do a pretty good job of it, but yeah, there's plenty of other dung sweepers. A couple less than when I started trying to make a name for myself. 43 less to be exact, but hey, who's counting?
What else do people do in Darkon? Tell me.
Oh, well, I mean, you used to be able to travel bouts, maybe go do some sightseeing, see the countryside. The whole place, they say it's falling apart now. Some strange sort of mist, they say, creeping in on the countrysides. It's separating all the little settlements. So if you're in Matira Bay, you don't have much choice but to fucking stay there. You want to go any other places? You want to go to the Nevertraw Springs? You want to go to Riverless? You can't no more. They say there's mist separating all the Darkon.
Well, Frank, funny you mention a mist. Mist is what brought us here. At least, what I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe it's the same kind of mist that they say is creeping about up there. Never seen it myself. Stuck to the streets till I got caught.
Maybe that mist will take us back. What do you think, fellas?
I don't know. I feel like only gods could take us back. Any gods around here that could take us back?
Gods?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No? Nobody you guys pray to that could help you?
Me, I'm not really much of the praying type. I mean, people think they believe in what they want, but no, not me, not me.
I mean, you seem to prey on a lot of dung sweepers.
I do. Oh, you were talking about that kind of prey. The P-R-E-Y. Yeah, I do a lot of that praying. P-R-A-Y, not really my thing. Not really my thing. I mean, there are plenty of people who do. Some people think that Ezra looks over all of us. There's others who speak of some morning lord, that kind of. There's all kinds of names out there, but
Is the king divinely chosen?
you'd have to ask them. Well, I said never met him, but there's certainly no religious decrees in Darkon, if that's what you're asking.
No, that's good. That's good. Never
No.
been a fan of it myself.
No council, just the king.
Or just him, as far as I know.
Well, geez, you've been quite a wealth of knowledge about all of this.
Yeah, yeah.
You got any questions for us? I feel like it's only fair that we tell you a bit more about us. You can talk about you.
I mean, if you happen to figure out how many days are we from Wednesday again?
We come from an entirely different place. We don't even know what day it is anymore.
If someone happens to tell you what day of the week it is, I wouldn't mind a heads up. I'm really concerned that maybe I've missed my routine killing.
I see. I wonder if we could ask the guys who are feeding us what day it is.
Oh, who knows? Maybe we'll try in the morning.
And Lustra just kind of, he's been down there for a while and starting to get a bit squirrely or maybe even a bit chickeny. Hey, guy who's balking. Balk, I don't know, 3 times if you think it's Wednesday.
He balks twice and doesn't seem to know what the hell you're talking about.
This is going to be a long ride.
Settle in, lads. Lasses,
Settle
I
in.
suppose.
Yeah, you guys, if have any more questions for him, maybe kind of go into your own thoughts. What's everyone thinking? Some new nouns? What's everyone thinking as you're lying here trying to fall asleep?
Lenara is mentally logging these because it's dark and I don't know how much room I have to move my arms, so she can't actually scratch those down. Just trying to take all of that in, and she's going to attempt to do 2 things if she can shuffle around. One, it's move the pot from her mess kit near her head, so when they open the slit, she can catch as much water as possible.
Sure.
And then 2, she's just going to hold that Almirage horn she went to Cholt for and just use it as a sort of focus instrument to think about Van Richten and the whole mission to keep herself relatively sane in this coffin.
Sure thing. Sure thing.
Just focus on that.
As you're all lying there, Lenora, you're like holding on to that little Almirage horn, thinking of your training with Van Richten. Why don't you give me a history check.
Natural 20 for a 23.
Nat 20. Not sure which of the nouns kind of triggered the train of thought, but as you're lying here, you think back on one of the last couple times you saw Van Richten. You briefly glanced what he was working on. The last thing you remember Dr. Rudolf Van Richten working on is Darkon. He was actively researching Darkon and this strange occurrence of the mist that was seemingly breaking it apart. His notes referred to a fractioning of the domain, is how he referred to it in his notes. So the last thing you remember Van Richten working on is trying to figure out why Darkon was falling apart and being surrounded, like why it was not falling apart, but why it was being sectioned like this. The mists are supposed to keep each domain inside its own bubble, of course, but it seems like in Darkon, they've moved into the domain and are splitting the domain up into sections, and that is what Van Richten was actively working on, is trying to figure out why is that happening.
Gotta sharpen the pencil now.
Yay for nat 20s on a history
nice
check.
Nat 20 on that. Yeah, you get a nice little lore dump. But you guys all get a long rest. No, I don't think we said it on air, but you guys, last time you guys got a long rest was the night you spent on your raft castle. So you get a long rest after that. But let's quickly talk about a new mechanic in Van Richten's guide
Oh, a
to
wonderful.
Ravenloft.
Oh,
It's a little
boy.
mechanic called stress. Called stress. Think back about what you guys been through. Shipwrecked, giant storm, you almost drowned in the ocean. Tess almost died. Multiple people almost died at numerous points.
Mostly me.
Mostly you, but not just you, but very much mostly you. You have been in over your heads since this started. You just spent the night sleeping in a coffin. You're on your way to some crazy doctor's island. Pretty stressful situation, if you ask me. Horrible thing about stress, there's no save. No save. So when you wake up in the morning, all of you have one level of stress. What does that mean? It means -1 on just about everything. Let's see, attack rolls, saving throws, ability checks. -1 to essentially everything. Not your damage, though, but essentially everything else. How do you get rid of stress? You get a nice, good night's sleep. What's really hard to find here? A nice, good night's sleep. So just, to for the future, kind of things that are going to trigger stress. I think it's a pretty cool mechanic as a DM. It honestly does.
You don't have to deal with it.
First of all, there's no save.
You
It's
get
great.
to give it out. Yeah, it's a great mechanic.
It's like inspiration, but instead of like advantage, it's just middle fingers.
Right? The nice thing about it, though, I honestly feel like it almost answers a lot of the gray area, right? Like there's so much gray area in D&D, like think about like the rations and the fact you could do half rations and stretch them. You can sleep in armor and you'll probably pass your check. But now there's this cool stress mechanic that requires 0 save.
And it mechanically kind of demonstrates that our characters are, in fact, characters and not these paragons of heroes where they can do anything. It just kind of, it mechanically builds in the fact that we're in a domain of dread. That's stressful as hell, and it's got to show somehow.
That's it. So, I mean, things like witnessing if one of you dies, the other 4 are probably going to take a level of stress. One of you just decides you're just not going to eat for a week. It might be a level of stress. This is a good way to kind of get rid of all those gray areas. I'm a big fan of the rule. I won't take it too far, I don't think. But right now, all of you have 1 level of stress when you wake up in the morning. So everyone has -1 to essentially everything. Is there anything you want to do throughout the day?
I'm going to work on my cool vampire pose as I lay there for 24 hours and try not to get bed sores.
Okay. Just keep moving a little bit.
Lustra will grab his bauble off of his horn and just kind of count the rosary and use that as kind of a stress relief mechanism to the best of his ability and failing miserably.
I like it.
The snake man will play his flute.
You play a flute.
Merlin's going to tell the snake man to stop playing his flute.
Tats, you have an opinion about this flute?
Tess is going to think back to all of her time in solitude and all of the ways that Simon taught her to clear her mind and truly be introspective and sort of make her own sort of mind palace and do her best to go there and block out this goddamn flute playing.
Okay. Okay. Give me an intelligence saving throw.
Oh,
Can
boy.
I at least do a performance? Like,
I've already
It's not
decided
the
it's not
flute,
good.
it's the fact that it's the snake man. Who said, hey, leave her to drown.
Man, how long are you gonna hold this grudge?
What'd you
It's
get?
been like a two.
Apparently, he's only got 5 more sessions till he's dead. So
Nine.
that one.
A 9. No, the flute drives crazy. Drives you absolutely crazy. Matter of fact, if he doesn't stop, you might take 2 levels of stress. But the day goes on. The day goes on. You can feel yourselves rocking back and forth in this bilge, in your coffins. Extremely stressful situation. At some point, you're fed. Hardtack is put through the slot, ladles of water put through the slot to keep you nourished and alive. And after what seems like an eternity of confinement inside of these coffins, you notice a change in the motion of the ship. And before long, you feel a little bit of scraping and bumping, sounds that tell you that cargo is being unloaded. What seems like another eternity passes with the sounds of labor just slowly drawing ever closer as they get closer and closer to unloading the coffins that you are in. At last, the coffins in which your party has been imprisoned for the last 24 hours or so are all hoisted out of this hold and presumably dropped on the top deck of the ship. You hear this sharp-pitched whistle that is blown nearby, like off of the ship, on shore, you assume. And moments later, there's that swaying, jerking motion as you feel your coffin get lifted up by a pulley system and brought over to land. That's followed by more handling. There's another impact, some swaying and rumbling of a wagon, and you now assume that your coffin has been placed in the back of a wagon. It goes on for some time again until these wagons come to a stop, and you feel yourselves still in these coffins being placed on the ground again. Then you feel yourself being lifted like you're on maybe a lift. And this goes on for a while. You figure you must be lifted up maybe 100 feet into the air before your coffins are placed back on the ground. And one by one, all the lids start getting pried open by crowbars. And you can see Captain Baykur is the only person you recognize. Everybody else around, there's quite a few people around, but every single one of them is wearing this long, completely featureless robe. It's pale white, and they're all wearing equally featureless masks that have 3 slits, 2 for the eyes and 1 for the mouth. There's no other features to these masks, and everybody you see is wearing this robe and mask, except Captain Baykur. He is wearing the robe, but he has taken the mask off so that you can recognize him as he's opening these coffins and instructing you to get out. When you get out, you look around and see that in front of you is a trail leads off to who knows where. To the left and right of you are forests, thick-ass, dense forests. And behind you is a cliff about 100 feet high with a lift on it. You've just been brought up. Beyond that cliff, you see ocean and you see the Mercy. She's tied up at these docks. There's actually 2 other much smaller fishing vessels tied at these docks as well. So 3 boats in total, but the Mercy's tied up on the docks way far off now. So to the left and right forest, ahead trail, behind giant cliff with elevator. And as you guys are let out of these coffins, you also notice there's an awning that's been set up along the side of the trail, and there's a big chest under this awning. And one of these robed figures opens the chest and pulls out 5 sets of robes and 5 of these masks. And Dr. Baykur says, "You put on now," and hands each of you one of these robes and one of these masks. What do you do?
I get dressed.
Yep, Slash will comply.
Yep.
I guess Merlin will too.
Tess will put on the robe over her clothes. Will spend a long time just staring at the mask, not putting it on.
Not putting on the mask?
Like, she'll be holding it, but she's not going to voluntarily put it on.
He looks at you. So you need help?
I mean, I'm wearing the robe. You're not wearing a mask? Is this not enough?
He puts his mask on. I thought maybe it'd be nice. You recognize one face. But immediately puts the mask on. He says, "Here, everyone wear mask. You go with mask, or you no go. And you no go, this is not good for you. Behind 100-foot fall. You run ahead, we catch you. You run to woods, you hope we catch you. But maybe wolf catch first. Put on mask."
Tess will look at each of her other 4 victims, and just with a shaking hand will very slowly comply and put the mask on, and immediately just try to get closer to one of the other 4, just like the closest one, just immediately get right beside them.
Sure, you suit up with a bunch of hesitation. You're all wrangled up on a second wagon. This is everybody back of wagon. And you're all led to this wagon, sat in the back of it. There's, call them like manacles, like leg, chains for your legs that are attached to the back of the wagon. They're secured as you sit there. One of these other robed figures takes a position in the back of the wagon to watch over you. And Captain Baykur himself sits in the driver's seat, cracks a whip. There's 2 live horses pulling this wagon. And he cracks a whip, and off they go. And as you're kind of being jostled about in the back of this wagon, you can already hear the distant howling. Every now and again, you see a shadowy figure pass through the woods, all evidence of the wolves. And you are led down this dark, dark path. I mean, it's essentially daylight here when you arrive, and this forest is so thick that it's almost pitch black in the forest. It's just so much vegetation. You can hardly see a damn thing. And eventually, the wagon comes to a stop. Captain Baykur gets out of the driver's seat, walks up to this tall iron gate to open it up. An iron gate that seems to be the only entrance into these grounds that are completely surrounded by a high 20-foot high stone wall. The only other feature you see is a plaque right next to that iron gate. See, the letters are super faded. It's really rusted up. And all it says is asylum. And underneath it just says Dr. DeClaude Hindfroth. And we're going to call it there.
Yeah, who called Asylum? Go Linara.
Go Asylum team.
Yay.
Team Asylum. Won.
Man.
You won the pool.
We did it. Yeah, what do I win? Probably nothing good. Hooray!